NIO stock was up almost 18% last week. It's up 45% in the last month and almost 30% in the last 12 weeks. So NIO is looking bullish, but big question is this bullish breakout across the trend line sustainable, or is it just a counter trend and the stock is going to fall away once it hits resistance around 550? In this video, I'll try and answer that question by completing a price analysis of NIO stock. Let's take a look. I'd like to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/DavidB for the 5 best stocks to buy now. Use my special link to get $200 off their epic annual subscription. Now, if you find value in my analysis of NIO stock today or other stocks on my channel, you may also find value in my email newsletter. If you subscribe, I'll send you professional trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. Link in the description below. Check it out. So NIO stock was up almost 80% last week. It's up 45% in the last 4 weeks. You can see on screen, looking at the weekly chart for NIO stock, price has recently broken this medium-term downtrend after finding support at $3, moving up and forming a higher base at $3.35. So it does look as if potentially this could be the bottom for NIO. It's moved up in the last few weeks to find this higher base, and now it's broken this trend line. It's looking bullish. It's had now a solid 2 weeks up, 2 full weeks up, 2 bullish bars up. And it does look as if now this current week, with 2 trading days completed, it's also looking to close high. So potentially by this Friday, 3 bullish weeks up for NIO, which is great. And short term, it does look as if it's moving towards this price level of around about 552, which is possible resistance based on this price peak back here formed in March 2025. So that potentially could be the short-term move for NIO. Now zooming out on the weekly chart for NIO stock, we know that this stock is in a long-term downtrend. It's been bearish since the price peak of $66 back in January 2021. Since that time, it has been heavily sold off and it has moved down in stages, often forming bullish counter trends to the longer term bearish downtrend. So we can see here I've marked up a number of confirmed downtrend lines, just confirming how price moves down in a steady fashion. But you can see when it finds support, for example here, May 2022, when it does break out, it does move up for a few weeks before sellers come back in and they sell off the stock once again. So you can see here on a number of occasions, if I use my trend arrow, price has come down, trended down. There's been a counter trend and it looks bullish, but then it finds resistance on this occasion around $24 before being sold off again, only to form another counter trend, get sold off again, and you get another counter trend again. So you can see here when it broke the trend line, it did move up and found resistance around about $16 before being sold off once again. And you can see this happening multiple times. Gets sold off, bullish breakout, only to get sold off once again. So the question now is, if I zoom in, the question now is this breakout here of this downtrend line, is this breakout going to be short-lived? Is it going to emulate the breakout here where we had around about 5 weeks up, 5 bullish weeks of price action, had a breakout of the trend line, only for sellers to take control after reaching this 771 resistance. Sellers took over and they sold off the stock again down into $3 resistance. And this, of course, this counter trend, it is moving up against the longer term bearish trend. So the breakout we've got right now in the last 2 weeks, breaking this trend line, it is possible that price may trend up to this level here of around 552, reach resistance before sellers take over once again. conforming to the longer term bearish trend, and then price falls down, perhaps to test 335, or worst case scenario, it might fall and test that $3 low again. So this is a possible scenario if the short-term trend starts to conform to the longer-term bearish trend. So that's one possible scenario. If price closes high this Friday, that would be a total of 3 weeks in a row where NIO has showed bullish price action. Buyers are coming in, they're seeing value in this EV stock, and they've moved the price up. However, with 3 weeks up, potentially it closes where it is now at $5. We are due then perhaps 1 week down to test that selling pressure. And then it might move back up to challenge 552. It won't be clear whether NIO is going to fall away or be bullish and keep going until we see how much selling pressure there is at these new price levels. So with 3 weeks up, we are due a red bar, so perhaps that'll come next week. So we can see since price found support at this higher base of 335, it has been bullish in the last couple of weeks, potentially 3 weeks on Friday if it closes high. Let's say it closes high at $5 this Friday. We should expect to have some selling pressure next week. We might not, but I think with 3 green bars up, we should expect 1 red bar down. Now, this will be a test of the selling pressure. If this trend potentially is going to conform to the long-term bearish trend, we might get a week down next week. Buyers come back in the week after, so in 2 weeks' time, and once again we see that price move up and challenge 550. Now, if it is a short-term counter trend, we should expect then it should be sold off and it move back down, conforming to the longer-term bearish trend. However, if that doesn't happen, and if price breaks through this level of 552 and starts to move up over the next 4 to 6 weeks as we approach earnings, perhaps it comes back to test 550 and then moves up to challenge 770. This would confirm that the trend is changing and NIO is trying to break out of the longer term bear trend and form a short to medium term bull trend. And we might have a catalyst in the earnings report. If Q2 earnings show positive guidance for Q3 in terms of the sales targets, significant reductions in those losses, so that bottom line needs to improve. If the numbers look good, if they improve tremendously from the Q1, I think investors might be taking a second look at NIO and might come back in seeing really good value around about this $5 mark. So we just don't know yet what's going to happen with NIO. The next 2 to 4 weeks, particularly before earnings, are going to be critical. If NIO can break through 552, it would suggest that perhaps this is not a short-term counter trend to the long-term bear trend. It might be changing, and investors might be gambling on those Q2 earnings being positive, and there might be a surge based on that report. Of course, the report might be negative. That's another possibility, that they haven't delivered on the promises of cutting those losses. And if that happens, we might get a sell-off of NIO stock, and once again it might return back down to these levels here, $3.35, $3. So watch this stock closely over the next 4 to 6 weeks as it approaches earnings. There may be an indicator on the chart that insiders already know that NIO is going to post Q2 reports that are very positive, and we might see a spike towards that 772 target. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you bullish on NIO? Do you think this is a sustained breakout or just a counter trend? I'm keen to know what you think. Thanks for watching.